Okay, let's keep going. So let's go feet apart a little bit, bend the knees and breathe and just do a little bit of a pelvic floor lift, not too hard. Breathe comfortably. Take the arms up and bend your elbows and turn on the muscles between the shoulder blades down the back. And just come forward a little bit, keeping those muscles switched on. Breathe, use the pelvic floor a little bit and hold. And you're starting to find your back is working just a little bit. And breathe. And then slowly come down, and that just starts to bring your posture a little bit taller. Okay, so let's keep switching on some of our posture muscles before we get into some more floor work. So first thing now is to go tall, breathe, lift that pelvic floor just a little bit, and stand onto one leg if you can. Just standing on one leg. Breathe. Okay. Now from there, gently hug your knee into your chest if you can. Okay. If that's too hard, just carefully hold one hand to your knee and the other hand on your hip. Or if that's too hard, just come down and do the easy version. Okay, so hug knee to chest. So this is the harder version. Think tall and do a little bend and then a stretch and go onto toes and down. And a little bend and stretch and go onto toes and down. And a little bend and stretch and toes and down. Now, from here, if that's all you can do, put your foot back on the floor. If you can keep going, take the foot through, put the shoulder blades down the back and sort of point your toes at the back. And really think long, like you've got a string through the top of your head, elongating your spine. And then come back and slowly come down. All right. And all the muscles in your trunk and down that leg should feel like they've worked a little bit. Let's do the other side. So think tall, breathe, and turn the pelvic floor on just a little bit. Bring the other knee to the chest. Hug the knee in. Put the shoulder blades down the back. And do a little bend. And stretch, and go on to toes and down, and a little bend, and stretch, and go on to toes and down. And I think we did 3 the first time. That's the goal. See if you can do 3 in a row, and go on to toes and down. Take the foot behind, shoulder blades down the back. Really elongate the spine and turn the muscles on between the shoulder blades. Breathe, keep holding your balance. Breathe, keep holding your balance, and then come back up. And then slowly down. Okay, and then relax. And then let's just do another little round of multifidus firing. Just a little bit forward, a little bit back. A little bit forward and a little bit back, just with a natural breathing pattern. And then relax. All right, so let's add a little bit of a stretch into our balance work now. So breathe, come down with your right foot onto your left knee and press the hands together. Use the muscles between the shoulder blades and turn the armpit muscles on through here. And hold. And breathe. Excellent. So just see if you can keep your supporting foot, your knee and your hip in perfect alignment. So we're really thinking everything is square. With this exercise, we really don't want to see this rolled in knee and rolled in foot and then a dropped hip. We really don't want to be having this kind of alignment here. So let's make sure you're keeping everything square and straight ahead. Even if you can work checking yourself in a mirror, that's probably not a bad idea. Okay, now this is the more advanced version. Take the hands out to the side and drop down, sort of like into an aeroplane position, shoulders down the back. Breathe, use a little bit of that pelvic floor and those deep muscles, but make sure you don't cramp on and stop your breathing. And come back to where we started. And then slowly down. Okay. And then let's swap to the other side. So, take the left foot onto the knee. Double check you're squaring hips, knee and foot. Breathe and drop down. And you'll get quite a nice stretch in the hip on the side that's elevated. Draw the shoulder blades down the back. Sort of use these armpit muscles here. Breathe. Think a little bit about using the pelvic floor for some stabilization, but not too hard. Come out with the hands. Slowly go forward. So the further forward you go, the higher it gets. So you stop at the level that you can do. Breathe, slowly come through, back to where you started, and then come down. Okay, so hopefully that's just got, a little bit of movement going. So let's get doing a few larger movements. Alright, so if you have a yoga mat, it's really good to do this on a non-slip surface. Okay. And make sure you work to the level that is appropriate for you. Okay, so start off at the front of your mat and take your breath in. Stretch up and slowly curl down. Good. Now let your knees bend. If you have back pain, make sure you only go a very short distance with this, and then relax and come back down and gently stretch up and relax and come back down. Okay, now take the feet back into down dog. Now I find with this, if you've got back pain, if you keep your knees quite bent, push into the mat, elongate through your spine, use your armpit muscles sort of under your shoulder blades, and then gently just stretch into one foot. So it's kind of like half a down dog, and then come back and swap to the other foot. Good. And then come back. Now, if you're quite flexy and going reasonably well with your pain management, you can go right into the full down dog and breathe. Good. And then from there, come down onto the knees. Okay, so from here, we're going to make sure that we've got a neutral spine. So the key thing is make sure you have a small curve in your lower back and gently lift a little bit between your shoulder blades. Make sure your neck is fairly parallel to the floor when you do this. So you're really concentrating on not sort of doing a turtle head. So you lift between shoulder blades, curve in the lower back, And that's fairly neutral where I am now. So maybe even check yourself sideways in the mirror. Breathe. Now use a little bit of pelvic floor activation. Don't forget to keep breathing. Now, just take your weight, barely so that anyone can see you move, all onto the right leg. So I've shifted my weight completely, and I've just imagined like my left knee is on a delicate flower and my right knee is taking my weight. And keep breathing, then go back to the middle. And what you'll notice is if you keep your position correct, you can feel all the little deep trunk muscles switch on to support you here. Breathe, bit of pelvic floor. Stabilize yourself. Now take your weight completely onto the left knee. Imagine like the right knee's on a delicate flower. Keep the breathing going. Keep your neck in place. And don't let your shoulder blades drop and go back to the middle. So double check that you're not slowly falling down. Make sure you really lift. Breathe and then swap to the other side. Make sure you're not doing a massive shift with your weight or losing your form. Then go back to the middle. Breathe, bit of pelvic floor, and then change over to the other side again, and then come back. So now, just curl up, take your butt onto your heels, gently stretch right forward into the fingertips, breathe. Take your right hand to the side. Take the left hand on top and stretch back into the side and into the butt. And breathe. And now go back to the middle. Take the left hand out. Take the right hand on top and stretch back into the butt on the right hand side. Breathe. Good. And then come back to the middle. Okay. Now, the next one, again, make sure you stay neutral, again. So, a little curve in your back. Lift between shoulder blades. This time, switch on a little bit of that pelvic floor again and breathe. Take the right foot behind. Leave your toes on the floor. Keep breathing and double check that your hips are square. So if you imagine like you had a headlight and a headlight on your hips and that was shining straight to the floor, they would be perfectly equal. So you don't want one headlight shining at the wall and one at the floor. Make sure they're both square. Keep the lift between the shoulder blades and don't let the head drop forward like a turtle. Take the opposite hand forward. Now imagine a really long string between your big toe and your fingertips and really elongate the spine. Breathe. Keep holding. It actually can be quite tiring for the endurance muscles of the spine. It's a really good idea to get the endurance in the back muscles and just not all power in one go. It's a really good idea to get the endurance going, especially if you've had back pain. Breathe. A little bit of pelvic floor again. Slide the left leg. Leave the big toe on the floor. Keep the neck in place. And take the opposite arm forward. Keep breathing. Make sure your shoulders are not in your earlobes. Create space between your neck and your shoulders. elongate the spine between the tip of the toe and the fingertips. And breathe. Double check you've got a little bit of pelvic floor activation. And breathe, keep that endurance happening, and then slowly down. Good. Curl up. Take the butt onto the heels. Gently stretch right out. Breathe. Okay, if that one was hard enough for you, if you've got back pain, stick at that level. If you can go on to the next one, this one's the hover. So again, neutral spine. Lift between the shoulder blades. Elongate the neck, chin in slightly. Breathe, bit of pelvic floor on, so your pelvis is stable. Then just tuck your toes under, lift your knees just off the floor, and just look ahead just a little bit without kinking your neck too far. Push away from the floor, lift between the shoulder blades. Breathe, activate those deep muscles in the pelvic floor a little bit. Don't clamp on with every muscle and your left eyebrow. Make sure that you've just got enough room to still breathe properly. And slowly come down, curl up, stretch out. And slowly come back to where we started. Have a neutral spine, breathe, bit of pelvic floor lift, tuck the toes under, activate the trunk, and just bring your knees off the floor again. Look a little bit ahead. Keep breathing, and keep breathing, and keep breathing, and slowly come down, curl, and go back onto the heels, and stretch out. Good. And then slowly come back. All right. Now, if you're able to go on to a much more advanced version with this one, I'll give you a couple of options here. So you can either do a hover and then come back down onto your knees and just take your legs out into a plank position and hold. Or if you like, you can take your feet out into a full plank position. So let's start in the hover. Breathe, switch on a bit of pelvic floor, neutral spine, bring your knees just off the floor. Keep breathing. Okay, let's do the easy version first. Just step the feet out into a knee plank, push away from the floor, elongate your spine and make sure you're in a really nice, tall, long, straight position. And breathe, and then slowly stretch out. Good. Come back, tuck the toes under, and come into the hover. So pelvic floor, come up, breathe and hold, and then from there keep that neutral spine into the plank and hold and breathe and hold and use your pelvic floor, and then come down, curl up and slowly go on with the butt onto the heels and stretch out into the hands. Good. Okay, now from here, if you've got a band that you can use elbows around your knees. We're going to do some glute work. Okay, so make sure you have your loop. Step into the loop. Okay, make sure your loop is just above your knees. All right, so now we're going to go onto the back. Okay, now from here, what I want you to do is just have a little curve in your lower back. So you just imagine like you've got a little furry caterpillar under there and you don't want to kill him. All right, now just breathe and use a little bit of pelvic floor if you can. Not too hard. Make sure you continue to be able to breathe right throughout the exercise. And now push the knees out past the little toes. Then from here, what I want you to do is feel into your hip flexors with your fingertips. And these muscles at the front will tend to want to take over and do all the work if you've been struggling a little bit with your hip flexor tightness. So we want to focus our mind into just using the butt more. So in particular, this starts to get the bottom side butt going, which is fantastic for centering the hip, supporting the pelvis and the sacroiliac joint. So keep the knees out, keep feeling for the hip flexors, and close your eyes and focus. Now, relax the hip flexor muscles. See if you can just start to turn them off. And if you can just start to back off with those hip flexors, you'll begin to notice this sneaky little bit of work going on in the bottom side butt, just at the sides here. And then hold for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then come back in. And by the end of 10 seconds, you'll probably start to find that that was actually quite hard. And let's go again. Neutral spine. Remember, don't kill the little caterpillar behind your back. Square hips. Take the knees out, past the little toes. Feel for the hip flexors. And just close your eyes. Breathe and just focus into those muscles and see if you can just get them to let go. Count 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax. And reset the pelvis. And it's a good idea if you just take your time and go right into doing 10 of these for 10 seconds in a row. And that really starts to kick off these deep hip external rotators. Now just feel into those hip flexors. Just really see if you can relax them. Breathe. Close your eyes and focus. Count 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax. And I don't know about you, but I'm beginning to notice definitely that my butt is working. So we're going to do one more of those, and I'm going to show you the next level to go on to. Neutral spine, press out, relax the hip flexors. And 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax. Okay, now the next level is that same technique that we've just completed. Take the knees out past the little toes. Relax the hip flexors, completely let go. Okay. Now we're going to make sure that the feet are hips width apart, so reasonably narrow. Our knees are out past the little toes. Press into the heels and then slowly lift and then slowly come back down and slowly lift and come back down. Now, just double check that your shoulders are relaxed, that your neck is not straining, and that you're just breathing comfortably as you slowly come up, slowly come down. Now with this movement, we're going to press into the heels and just come up, really driving through the heels into the glutes with your spine pretty much in a block. So on this one, we're sort of not doing that articulated movement that you're often quite used to doing in a Pilates session. We're just going to go up in a block and slowly down, and up in a block and slowly down. And from here, we're going to go 10, keeping the knees out, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, and your butt should be falling off by now, 3, 2, and 1. All right, so with that exercise, feel free to use a dumbbell that you might have at home. So if you are using a weight, go onto your back, come down, and then have the weight supported on your hips, and then slowly come up and slowly come down, and repeat that whole 10 reps with the weight on, and breathe. And by the end of that, you can definitely start to feel those glutes working pretty hard. Okay, so with this one, it needs to be that your glutes are working. Make sure you don't really hyperextend your spine too much. So it's more that you press into your heels and just come up for a short distance so the glutes work. So you will notice your back muscles will work as well, but we don't want them to be taking over completely. And we definitely don't want pain in the back as you're lifting and coming down. If you do have pain in your back, back off with that one and make sure you let us know so that we can give you some alternatives. Okay, so stepping out of your band, and then we're going to come onto our feet. Alright, so if you've got some weights at home, or even you can fill up a milk container of 2 litres with water, anything you can find. I think most people are getting themselves pretty set up with some weights at home. So this exercise you can do with or without, it's up to you. So we're just going to start to get the glutes and the hips going. So take the feet out into a sumo kind of squat. So come down and just imagine sort of a little bit like you're a ballet dancer. So have your feet at about 30 degrees Now, if you look on the side, make sure that your knees are not going in. You want your knees out a bit like that. So just take the hands together, shoulder blades down, and use your pelvic floor a little bit, and then just slowly come down and slowly up. So just breathe in, breathe out. So the trick here is to really control through the trunk, slowly down, slowly up, slowly down, and really use the glutes. So if you're using your glutes, that should start to take some of the pressure off your knees. And it shouldn't be causing pain anywhere if you've got yourself lined up correctly with this one. So your trunk's reasonably upright and you're just coming slowly down and slowly up, controlling the pelvis position, and breathe. And breathe in and breathe out. Now, if you're feeling like you can use weight with that one, we're going to go breathe in, breathe out, shoulders down the back, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, and breathe in, breathe out. Good. And let's go 5 more. 4, 3, and 2, and 1. Good. And then come up. Okay. Take a break for a moment, and then we're going to alternate that with another exercise. So let's go to a lighter set of weights. I think make sure you're aware of the amount of weight that you should be lifting. So this one is not a great exercise if you have shoulder pain. So we'll give you some alternatives if you've got shoulder pain. So with this one, bend your knees a little into that sumo position. Put your shoulder blades down your back, and then you go bicep, shoulder press, bicep, lower, bicep, shoulder press, bicep, lower, and swap sides. Good. And swap, and swap, and swap. So we're going to pretty much do 10 on each arm here. So what I want you to do is just continue on with those. If that feels comfortable and you can keep your shoulder blades under control, and if your neck is not overworking too much. All right, complete that 10. Now, if that one doesn't suit you so well, there's an option here. So, grab your band. This is great to work on shoulder control all at the same time. So drop down into your sumo, support your pelvis with your glutes, shoulder blades down the back. Now if you've got slightly unhappy knees, don't drop down too low, just ever so slightly soften the knees if that's your option. Now put your shoulder blades down your back, elbows into the waist. So when you look at the side, make sure your shoulder is exactly above your elbow. So shoulder blades down the back, and slowly out, and slowly back. Slowly out, slowly back. And we're going to go 10, and 9. Relaxing these muscles here. And 8. So we're really thinking about relaxing the upper trapezius, using between the shoulder blades and the mid-back muscles. And I completely lost count, and the point is here to do 10 in a row. Okay, now if that one feels better to you, stick at that one. If you're feeling good with your shoulders, alternate to the bicep curl. So let's go bicep, shoulder press, bicep down. Good. 2, 3, keeping the shoulder blades down the back. 6. Make sure the upper trapezius are relaxed. Relax the neck. Good. And again, I'm going to always count, but the idea is to do 10 on each arm at a weight that you feel is a challenge but doesn't give you pain anywhere. So make sure you feel as though you've worked, but you're not getting any of your aches and pains kicking off. Okay, so for those who are doing this one last set or alternating is good. Just relax a moment, soften the knees, shoulder blades down the back, and slowly up, slowly back. And 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And you should feel that that mid-back has been working. Okay, so we're finished with your dumbbells for now. Alright, so this next one is much more of a dynamic exercise. If you've got your band tied in a loop, so the smaller the loop, the harder this gets. You can completely choose how hard you want to go with this, and your loop goes actually onto your feet. So rather than around the ankles. Okay, so with this one, what we're going to imagine is like we're taking off to run the 400 meters, and then we're going to just double check a few things. Square hips and pelvis. Use a little bit of that pelvic floor to control the spine and the hip, so we don't want to drop. Keep it square. Knee stays square over the middle toe. So we've really lined up perfectly here. So when you take your foot off the ground, you're nice and stable and holding. And then we're going to tap. And we're going to go. And if you want to use your arms to imagine like you're running, it's not a bad way to keep the flow of the movement. Keep your pelvis stable. And we're going to go 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and come up. Good. And then swap over sides. So stabilize on this leg, square pelvis. Now when we stand onto one leg, make sure that knee and that foot is lined up and your hips are square. Shoulders down, don't tense up your neck. And we're going to tap. Good. Use the hands if you feel like that will make it flow easier. And 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, and 3, and 2, and 1, and swap sides. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and swap sides. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and swap. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and swap. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, Okay, so that should have got you moving a little bit more. All right, now on the next one, keep the band on your feet. Step in, and then we're just going to drop down into a little bit of a squat, angle the body slightly forward. We're going to take one foot in front of the other a little bit. So, put your pelvis stable, have a neutral spine. And then we're going to just drop into just some little half squat pulses. So push into your supporting heel so that you can really feel the butt on the supporting leg working. Don't forget to breathe. So use all those techniques that you've been learning from your physio and from all of us on how to activate your glutes a little bit more than the hip flexors. So that means trunk forward a little bit, pressing firmly into the heel and feeling the glute as you're coming down. And then let's swap sides. So right foot forward, left foot back. Line up. So we're going to go into a neutral spine. And we're going to do some little half squat pulses. 10. Pressing down into the heel. So once we get to here, we're pushing into the ground and feeling the muscles work under here. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then come up. Now, going into that slightly angled position, we're going to do the crab walk. So you might want to take off down the hall and then back again. It's up to you. I'll still be here. So we're going to go across and then back for the crab walk. So keeping that angle of the body and breathing, and crab walk and back, breathe. So using the trunk, keeping the knee angle. Can you see how my knees are square and not like this? So you're gonna imagine like you've been on horse for 3 days. Here we go. And tap, and come back. Breathe properly and use your trunk. And breathe and use your trunk. Use a little bit of pelvic floor. If you can keep that going in the background, that would be a really great idea. And tap. Good. Until you feel like your butt is just starting to get really tired. Fantastic. Okay. So let's step out of the band. Hopefully that's just helped you to get moving a tiny little bit. And let's do some stretches just to make you feel better before you have to go back to the computer. All right. Okay, so a towel will do, or if you've got a stretching strap, use that. We're going to start on our back and relax. So bend the knees and just hug one knee into the chest and slowly come down and hug the other knee into the chest and slowly come down. Good. And hug. And release, and hug, and release. Now use your towel or your strap and go onto your heel with the strap. So So point your toes just a little bit and then keep one knee bent and just gently stretch into the hamstrings. Don't go crazy. And hold for around about the count of 10 or so. And then bend the knee a little bit. Now, turn the foot in. Take the strap into the opposite hand. This hand reminds you to keep your pelvis straight. Don't do a big twisting movement here. And go across. And as you go across, take your foot towards your opposite shoulder and you'll feel a stretch in this part of your butt. And then come up, gently stretch the hamstrings. Hold for a few seconds and come down. Okay, and then let's change sides. So, put the strap onto the heel. Let the toes point a little, stretch into the hammy. Breathe. Count to say around about 10. Good. Bend the knee a bit. Turn the foot in. Use this hand to remind you to keep your pelvis straight. Stretch to the opposite shoulder. Breathe. And then come back to the hammies. And then come down. It's probably a good idea to do all of that one more time on each side. And then just stretch across again so that you can feel that nice stretch into the sort of ITB and lateral hip muscles. And come up. And then slowly down. And then change sides. And just repeat that all again. So gently stretching into the hammies. Bend the knee. And go across. Come up. And then slowly come down. Okay, now going over onto all fours. Again, curl up. Take the butt onto the heels. Take the hands out to the right and stretch back. And then swap to the other side. And then come up. Now, take one foot forward and just lift in the trunk. Drop the shoulder blades down the back and then just tuck under a little bit. So activate the glutes when you're doing this. Go forward into this part of the hip flexor here. Stretch the hand up and go across. And breathe. So elongate right through the muscles down the side and into the hip flexors. And come up. And then swap over sides. So go up tall, activate the glutes, tuck under a little bit, go forward into the front of the hip. Stretch up and elongate the side of the body. Stretch away from that hip a little. And breathe. And then come down. Okay, and then change sides. Again, forward into the hip flexor and stretch away from that side and breathe. And then come back down and then swap over. So lift, tuck, go forward into the hip flexor and stretch away from that side and come up. Okay, come onto your feet, take a big breath in and stretch tall and breath out. And hopefully I will send you back to the computer feeling a little bit more motivated, a little bit stretched out, with your trunk muscles activated so you don't go all slumpy for the rest of the day. Bye.